Welcome to Fans of the Framework. I'm on part 2 of a 3-part series on your leadership plate, right? Think about how your leadership nourishes other people. It nourishes you, hopefully. I pray that your own leadership nourishes you, but also you're feeding a family with your leadership, both your own family and potentially many other families. So your leadership needs to be nourishing both for you and for others. So that means balanced, right? We nourish, we balance. So I talked last week about how you influence and how to be a great influencer. Doesn't mean you're a seller or a persuader, but that you coach and show gratitude and develop relationships, and that makes you influential. And if you think about it, influence takes up the biggest part of your plate. When we influence, we are the vegetables on a healthy, nourishing plate. Okay, they're colorful, they're amazing, they make things move and go. Okay, so then the third I on your plate, which we'll talk about next week, is inspiration. That's the healthy grains. All right, you can either have a whole big bunch because you want a carb load, or you can just have some healthy grains sprinkled liberally or not so liberally throughout if you don't want to do carbs. But inspiration and how to be a more inspirational leader and inspire others. Today, we're going to talk about the building block of your plate, the protein. Okay, the protein, and that is innovation. How do you make yourself strong? What is the warrior on your plate? The warrior on your plate. And I know that there are vegans and vegetarians out there that totally disagree with me, but the warrior, the building block on your plate is innovation. We can't build, we can't grow without being innovators. So in today's world, and I know you've heard me say this before, we already have enough technology to do our jobs for us and part of our jobs. And the more technology we get, the more frantic, the more fractured our brains are, the further behind we get. Right? And so we don't need that. Today's hottest commodity in a leader, and you can read this anywhere, people, start with Harvard Business Review, is that as leaders, we need to be innovators. We need to be able to think and think clearly and with creative and open minds. And you know what? We can't carry this ourselves. We need to allow others around us to innovate as well. So I found a Henry Ford quote that I just love. Like, seriously, I love this. I'm obviously in a hotel room, and I was jumping up and down with glee when I met it. And he says, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Henry Ford. If I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said, "No, just make your horses faster, Henry," right? What does Henry Ford mean by that? He means that if allowed, people won't think outside the box. People will just go with what they know, so that they really don't have to change. And, maybe to create a faster horse, you would have to change a little bit. Like the grain would have to be different. The horse would have to be thinner. You'd have to actually exercise the horse. You couldn't do any work, blah, blah, blah. Be a little bit different, but still a horse. A horse is a horse is a horse, right? But when he began to lead people that really thought outside the box. I mean, we're not talking Fred Flintstone, put your feet down and move this machine. We're talking a motor to move this machine. That's innovation, right? That's the truest inspiration and innovation. Leaders, U.S. leaders, and you know what? This has happened to me before, and I'll tell you what, when I was writing this today, I was thinking, OMG, I was at times a horrible leader. Overall, of course not, but at times I really could have done things differently, because we don't always want people to be innovators, don't we? Do we? Because when your people are innovators and when they come up with ideas, and sometimes great ideas, it means more work for you. Your perception is it means more work for you. So we can be just as resistant to change as our people are, right? And so, what we need to develop as a skill is, even when your people come up with a great idea, even if you think that will never work or it will never fly, I will never get that through the budget, I will never get it past the medical staff, this just is not happening. Okay. Even when you think that, you still have to allow them to innovate, to be creative, to speak what's inside of them in a really free and safe environment, and to not shut them down, to somehow positively put a twist on it that, you know what, I'm going to think about that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show New Amsterdam, but if you have, look how Max leads. Max leads with positivity. How can I help? That's a great idea. I'm going to think about that. It may be changed. The idea may be changed when you get back to the employee. It may be different. It may be something that's more allowable, but don't shut them down, because guess what's going to happen? If you shut people down, they won't speak up. And so when they come up with an idea that might not work and you shut them down, they'll never tell you another idea again. And that's where their deepest, most true, amazing innovation lies. So again, your leadership plate of innovation is not filled with just you, my friends. It is filled with everybody around you, but you leading in such a way that people can approach you with these ideas, and that would be great fun if we could do it this way, right? Do it this way. The second thing is when change happens, how do you make great change happen? Remember, you have to do it with them, not to them. Dr. John Kotter from Harvard Business, this is Sue's intellectual boyfriend. You have heard us quote this man forever, says, yes, does it take longer for innovation to happen? To first have the idea and then make it happen into reality? Amen, sisters and brothers. It most certainly does, but it's worth it, because then your change will be sustainable and you won't have carried it by yourself. You never have the fear of standing in front of your staff again and them having these great innovative ideas and you being afraid, oh, here we go again. They're giving me ideas that I have to follow through on and change, and I simply don't have time. No, do it with them and not to them. You seem really greatly passionate about that. Help me with this. Would you like to be on a task force that carries this through? So the planning is innovation. The doing can be very innovative and creative and inspirational. Then study adjusting, and you study adjust with the leaders who took the baton from you, with other teams that took the baton from you, but most importantly, with your own team. The third thing is I had a great question that on reflection really caused people to be innovators, is when people would come to me with a problem, seeking answers about something. One of my comebacks was, what would you do if you were me? If you had my job, what would you do? If you were the leader of this department, how would you handle this situation? Okay. And then people can hear themselves say out loud, I would just fire a bunch of people, like whatever. Okay. But they can really, well, gosh, I don't know. What would I do? I don't know. Can I answer you tomorrow? Can I answer you later today? Or they're like, I don't know. You're always asking us that. How are we supposed to know? That's why you make all the money. Sure, whatever. And so, but then later they would come back and say, I thought of an idea. What if we did this? Right? Your brain needs the practice of innovation. Your brain, just like a muscle, needs to do this over and over and over in really small amounts so that it gets great and it makes you worthy of an innovative leader later. Okay. So, innovation, next week, inspiration, the 3 I's, and your plate is full. I know you guys have way more than this on your leadership plates, but we're just talking about the things that could potentially nourish you. And definitely being an innovator is going to nourish you. So, summit last week, Eaton Rapids, Michigan, it rocked, totally rocked. Met some amazing, over the top, great people. Next week is in Hayward, Wisconsin, to a full and packed standing room only, I've been told just now, today, venue, but the food's going to be fabulous and the teachers are going to be fabulous. Teresa Linfors is working with me, and we're gonna rock it out. So it's going to be a party every day. However, you can't join. So go to our website, www.capstoneleadership.net. Look for the training that's going on in 2020. Sign up. But if you would like to put this in place, the leadership plate, the framework in your neck of the woods, and have one-on-one coaching with Sue and I, right on the front page, the homepage of our website, is the Greatness Course. Click on it, check it out. That is something that would be amazing, and we'd love to meet you and work with you that way. Have a great Wednesday, guys.